the International Radio Festival. This year we're in Malta, and one of the things I love so much about it is that you meet so many incredible faces. Now, radio, especially in the UK, wouldn't be radio if it wasn't for some of the people here. And one of those people is the incredible Gordon Mack. How are you?
That's an amazing introduction. I'm fine. I feel so much better now. I feel important.
Oh, good. No, you are important. The thing is, it's so funny because I think when you step into radio, you don't always know its history. You don't always know about the people that have come before you and done incredible things. And hearing your story and the amount that you've done for what we do is just insane, really.
Yes, I agree. But I've also been lucky that I've travelled on perfect storms. You know, Kiss FM was a perfect storm. The music was right. The kind of the tension was right. We kind of needed more radio, and a lot of people have put a lot of hard work into it, and I was lucky enough to be the one that kind of sailed it through. So yeah, so I've been lucky as well.
Do you believe in luck, though, really?
I believe that you make the best out of luck that's offered to you, if that makes sense.
Yeah. What's the recipe for a perfect storm? What do you need in order for those things to carry?
I think if you look at the Kiss FM story, the perfect storm there was all of a sudden this new style of music, and you know, Kiss was born out of me being chucked off of a radio station because I was going to go for a commercial. They was going to go for a community license, and the guy told me that I wouldn't get on it if they got one because I didn't talk proper like what he did and stuff like that. And so I set it up. In the 80s, it was an amazing time musically, because in the 80s, if you look at all the musics that came out, so you had the tail end of disco, you had this boogie coming along, you had rare groove, you had a whole lot of kind of spin-offs from that, you had hip-hop, which really hit, you had electro, and that's just coming up to the first half of the 80s. And then by the second half, from 85 when Kiss FM came on, you had the rare groove really blew up, and then you had hip-hop, which was massive. You also had house, or the beginnings of house, the 10-city soulful kind of 116, 120 beats a minute house, and then you had real house, then you had acid, and then you had rave. And that was all within that 10 years. And so we kind of embraced all of it. And the one which became massive, because it appealed to everybody, black, white, green, yellow, everybody, which was house music. And we were fortunate enough to have some of the best house DJs, or some of the people that converted. You know, Danny Rampling, Norman Jay. You know, we had these people, Jonathan Moore, Cold Cut. We had some of these people which converted very early on and became, you know, Colin Faver, Colin Dowell, real pioneers of the music, and they were part of Kiss. So we were, a leading force in it, and there was this whole, kind of, it was the Summer of Love, which was, what was it? That was 87. And then after the Summer of Love, you had the people trying to ban the raves. And so we was a pirate, so we was anti-establishment anyway. So all these things, this is our game. So all these things really helped to type of make it. And we ran a very, very tight ship.
What was driving you back then?
Music. Music's the thing that's driven me all my life. It's why I'm not a multi-millionaire and driving around in my own private jet. Music drives me. It's the love of the music. It's the love of playing the music. I go out and do gigs for nothing, just to actually play the music, just to kind of get in front of a crowd and play, and just the love of it and the sharing of it, to share a record that you find or you think's great with somebody else, and they go, I never knew that one before. It's a certain kick out of that, and just the appreciation of the music. So yeah, music's driven me. Yes, I am a businessman, and yes, I do like to earn money, and yes, I like to kind of enjoy life, but it's the music that drives it through.
When did you fall in love with radio?
Oh, I was one of these weird kids. So everyone else in my class was all into Deep Purple, Led Zeppelin, and all this other stuff, and I was into soulful James Brown and sort of Fatback Band, and I was into all that kind of things. And I used to listen to radio. I used to do a Saturday job when I was I must have been about 8 or something like that, 8 or 9. And I used to do a Saturday job, and we used to listen every morning to the BBC. It was when it'd come on, and they had all these different great DJs. And I just loved the way in which a DJ could paint a picture by talking and saying words, and you know that was kind of you imagined it, and sort of the thought of being in a studio and playing records, because I loved music from a very young age. I'd done my first gig when I was 12, Halloween. So
What was your set like?
it was rubbish. So we turned up for a fundraising event at the local church, in the church hall, and it was a Halloween party, and they used to have them kind of 4 times a year to raise money for the church. So we all turned up. I turned up there with my family, and the DJ never turned up. So I said, I've got loads of music. So I'd go to do my Saturday job, get my money from that, and go and buy records down in the A1 store down in Wharf Road. And so they said, well, I said, no, look, go on, you get some equipment together, and I'll. So they got these couple of old record decks and put it through the Tannoy system in the hall. And they gave me some records to play that I was supposed to play, and I had almost 7 inches and kind of, pop music and, soul music and stuff like that, Shy Lights. And they gave me this box of records. They said, well, you need to play some of these because, and there was foxtrots in there was waltzes, and I didn't know the difference between all of it. So, and the first time I ever talked on the microphone, and I haven't told anybody, but I said, because I kept going up to the microphone, because, DJs are supposed to talk in between the records, so and that was kind of, especially mobile DJs back then as well. And so every time a kind of record was came to an end, I'd go up to the microphone and go and say something. No, put it down, play another record. And when I finally got the kind of confidence to do it, I said, "Here's a foxtrot for everybody," and put the mic down, put this record on, and some old girl came waddling up from the other, going, "No, dear, this is a waltz. This is a waltz. What's the matter with you, dear?" It's like, no, I don't want to talk again.
I'm 12. Give me a break.
Yeah. I'd done a deal with the vicar, who's a really lovely man, and done a deal with him, and I'd done all of their passes for the next 2 years, and that gave me £2 a gig, but it gave me income to actually go and buy my first little double decks. So that's where it all started.
Oh, I love it. And now you have your own station yet again.
Yes.
You're back in the thick of it. Tell us a bit about it.
It came about My Soul, spelt M-I Soul. Dyslexic Gordon. Well, that's not how you spell it. My eye. So My Soul came about because it's a station which is music from my soul. It's a station for me, and it came about because I came out of the radio industry because I was disappointed with it, and I'd done it and I wanted to get out. I came out and I went around the world and I partied and done all these crazy things, and then I opened a bar up, which was like being in an R&B video every night in Brixton Frontline, which is where I was kind of brought up all around that area. And I'd done that for 5 years and realised that I was going to drink myself to death being in a bar 5 nights a week. And I was becoming like a vampire. I didn't see daylight because I'd get in there late afternoon, come out there 5 in the morning, go home, sleep, get up and go. And it was like, it was great fun. We had a laugh, but we kind of... So myself and my wife, Deborah and I went, right, that's it, we've got to get out of this. So we did. So we got out of it, got rid of the bar, came out, and we sat there, and I got a bit of white paper out, and I put it on the table. So she said, what's that? I said, right, it's our future. So she went, what do you mean? So I said, well, we've got no commitments. We didn't have any children. We had a dog. We got no commitments. We got no responsibilities. We got nothing. We can actually go and recreate what we want to do. We could go and be jugglers. We could go and train to be bankers. We could go and travel the world, buy a Volkswagen or something like that. We can actually do whatever we want now because we've got rid of anything that we kind of...
Great.
And over the 3 months, Um, over the 3 months, we went through all kinds of stuff, but we decided we want to see daytime. And she went off and became a private and personal PA, so a very high-powered lady, and done that for quite a while. She's now got her own, what they called virtual PA business. My wife is that, so she's gone and done that now. But and I was sitting at home and didn't know what the hell to do. And what I'd done in that time was I listened to radio, and there was nothing on legal radio I wanted to listen to. It was just homogenised shit. It was just awful. And I was like, my God, where are all these DJs that used to be on Kiss and kind of, used to be happening back then, right? And, there was internet stations and a couple of pirates, and they were kind of doing it, but there was no one doing it legally. There was no one doing it on one of the FM or DAB. There was nobody doing that. And it annoyed me, really. It got my goats up. It really, really pissed me off. So I thought, okay, well, I'll start a radio station up then. That's what I'll do. And I kind of, in the meantime, I looked at all the DJs. If I was to build a dream team set of DJs, who would I pick? And so I started jotting all of them down and looking, and there's only about 5% of them that are actually on radio. The rest of them are all not on radio. And at the same time, an old friend of mine, he came along and said, could you give us some advice on this station we're doing? We don't know. So I went in and I've done some consultancy work and spent a couple of years there just finding out about DAB and how it works and what the pros and the cons are, etc. And then when the time was right, I pulled in all the DJs that I wanted to, because I phoned up Jumping Jack Frost and he wasn't doing a show anywhere. I phoned up Jazzy B and he wasn't doing a show anywhere, and Greg Edwards wasn't doing a show anywhere, and Dr. Bob Jones wasn't, and all these DJs, and it's like, really, none of you are actually on radio now? It's kind of, some of them are doing little pirate stuff, and anyway, so I said, look, this is what I want to do. I want to do a radio station, but put it onto DAB so that we have a proper presence on the legal network. Will you buy into this with us? Will you get involved? And every one of them said, yeah. And here we are today with kind of 70 DJs as a roster, with people like Josh Milan and Spen and sort of Dr. Bob Jones and Jazzy B. And it's just an amazing set of knowledgeable DJs that have come from Kiss and from Choice and from Jazz FM, because we've got Mike Vitti, who used to be programme director at Jazz FM. And we've just got this great set of people that are music lovers, but they know how to do radio, so it's professional, it's kind of, it's done in a professional way. And we've got, some of the best house DJs, and we've got, we're just about to launch an online offering, which is going to be called My House, where we've got sort of a whole load of great house DJs on there, as well as the ones that we got on the station, because we've got Cy Says and Booker T and Neil Pearce and Brian Powell, and we've got a great Paul Trouble Anderson. We've got all these great DJ names anyway. So we're going to do a type of a 24-hour house version of it.
Great.
And it's touch wood. I can't find any wood. All the time I've been talking it.
If you want.
It's going really well, and we've just had our best rage on. We're part of the proper industry, and we're kind of doing it, and it's coming together, and it's all going well. So it's like, phew, it's not quite the perfect storm this time, but a lot of hard work.
Yeah, but also your blank piece of paper worked, and if you hadn't have done that, you might be doing something completely different. And well done for that. Now, obviously, you've been super brave and you've really just taken an idea and run with it. Is there anyone that sat here thinking, you know what, I wouldn't mind starting up my own station? What advice would you offer to them?
Mate, the one bit of advice that I would say is make sure that there's a proper audience for your station. Because what I'd done as part of this whole exercise was I researched, okay, what would I play? How would it sound? And all the rest of it. And, it's 75% old or familiar music and 25% new music. 'Cause there's so much good new soulful stuff coming out. It's a crime that it doesn't get played on any big legal radio station. There's so much good music out there, so much brilliant house music out there. It doesn't get played on proper radio. So I'd say research and make sure that there's an audience that likes what you're going to play, because you know, you can come up with the best idea in the world, but if it's only you and your mate, and because it's experimental dub, step, rap and folk music that comes from I don't know, some out of Mongolia or something like that, there may not be a big audience, you know. So make sure that there's an audience for what you want to do. And I've researched, I looked at all the radio books from 1990s to 2000, and there was 2 million people that used to listen to Kiss and Choice every week in London in those times. So I knew that there's an audience. They'd just grown up. Some of them had died, some of them had stopped taking drugs and house music didn't sound as good, and some of them had moved away and whatever, some are inside now. But overall, there is a big audience there that used to listen to it, and I believe that what you grew up listening to will always have a special place in your heart.
For sure.
Even if it's not what you type of want to listen to all the time now, it's still kind of, and soul music is never going to die. I mean, it comes from the soul. So that's find an audience that you're going to play to.
Gordon, thank you so much. It's so lovely spending time with you and listening to your story.
Thank you.
What a legend. At the International Radio Festival, Gordon Mack.